live. So, hey everybody, welcome to Destiny Dispatch. I'm Moose, and up there is VK from Destiny Dispatch, and we have Skill over there in the top right. And sorry for
Hey
being
guys.
late, but first I was going to talk about the weekly update first, but I wanted to get this story out of the way that's been going around on Twitter and the internet about this kid was arrested for swatting, and I'm pretty sure everyone here knows what swatting is. But if you don't, it's when you call, I guess, the police and
You
report like a hostage situation or a gunfight or something crazy, and
bomb threat.
yeah, and then they bring out the SWAT team, and it's been kind of popular lately. And there's an article going around saying that this kid got 25 years to life and was labeled a domestic terrorist. That article is not entirely true. However, people have been getting charged for this, and it is, a serious offense. There's an article here that I have pulled up on my other computer. Um, I guess a 14-year-old kid was, he paid a friend of his in Britain to I guess swat somebody, and he ended up getting charged with second degree false reporting. Second degree false reporting of an incident concerning serious injury or death, disorderly conduct, and conspiracy, and that's pretty serious. Um, I
Yeah.
mean, that's not something to joke with. Whether you're raging or what. I mean, that's just
Well,
ridiculous. And we just lost video from Skype for some reason.
nice.
Well, you can still hear us.
Yeah. Don't know what's going on with the video, but we'll get that back. What are your guys' thoughts on swatting while we try and get the video turned back
Well,
on?
personally, I feel like swatting's kind of the evolution of the same hackers and whatnot that are doing like the DDoSing and whatnot. And I'm a huge believer in that these guys are going. Somebody has to be made example of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the money that is put into the SWAT team training, like the SWAT vehicle, like the big truck that they drive in, those things cost so much money that it the fact that they're deploying them on these fake calls and whatnot, it costs the city and whatever so much money to deploy these SWAT guys out. And now you see across the country more police departments are requesting these SWAT vehicles and SWAT training and all of that. And it's taxpayer money, and it's just a big waste. And someone's going to get hurt. And you've seen that other YouTubers have been swatted, and then they've been arrested on some other charge, like they had some drugs in their house or something at the time. And then when they got swatted, they got in trouble for something that they otherwise would have never gotten in trouble for. And honestly, I just think it's unsafe because it's going to be a bad day when one of these guys on streams accidentally gets shot by a police officer or something. You know what I mean? Just because they
Yeah.
think it's funny.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not even gonna sit here and lie like I ain't never prank called 911 before, because I did it a lot when I was a kid. Well, not a lot. I did it a couple times, and then I got caught. And well,
You were young.
yeah, back in
Well,
the
these days
yeah,
they have this callback system where if you call 911 and hang up, they call you back immediately. If you don't pick up, they dispatch. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it you can't really do it more than
But I
once,
want
I
to
would
know.
think. But
I want to know who the guy is that sat there and was like, you know what? I'm gonna call the SWAT team in on these motherfuckers. Like, how do you get to the point where you're so pissed off at whatever? It's usually Call of Duty. I mean, I can understand how you get pissed off at it, but how do you get to the point where you pick up the phone and call 911 and
um, envy maybe. It's generally people that are just looking for attention. You know,
Troll.
yeah, it's just that same class of person that just is a jerk. And that honestly, if you're gonna be a troll, there's a lot better ways to go through it and make people laugh instead of getting people arrested on their streams and stuff. It's
Yeah.
one of the most popular videos on YouTube right now is a guy getting swatted on stream. That's the fact that that's one of the most popular in the world or whatever. It's getting out of hand.
Yeah.
And honestly, it everything that I read in that satire article, I was like, yeah, sounds about right. That sounds legit.
Hmm.
Which then I was like, oh, when I heard it's fake, I was like, dang it.
Yeah,
They
like
don't have that person that was made example of.
yeah. Well, it's like I read it. At first I thought it was legit, and then I realized that the same website that I read it on, Examiner.com, also posted some other satire articles that I remember reading were satire, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I actually went and searched it, being searched, and found some that were legit, but they weren't as severe as being a domestic terrorist, which I would have found to be a little bit extreme, but you know.
Yeah, domestic terrorism. I don't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that seems a little harsh for some video game confrontations, but yeah. Anyways, so we'll go ahead and jump back into actual Destiny related stuff and the weekly update this week. I don't know if you guys got a chance to check it out. I'm pulling it up here, but there's some sweet banners on there that are actually really cool looking. Uh,
yeah, I like those a lot. I love the little art tidbits and stuff that they release. And I find that it's a small group of people that really really enjoy them, but they get a lot out of it. Especially for someone that is in the video making and things like that. It just gets those creative juices flowing for me.
yeah, yeah, I could see those being some pretty sweet like YouTube banners and Twitter banners and stuff like that. And then PAX today. This is kind of a little bit off topic, but not really. So I tuned into PAX right before, like an hour before the Destiny Bungie, whatever you want to call that, lecture talk thing, and
Right.
they had, it was the funniest thing that I'd ever seen at any convention, and it was a Nintendo 64 WWE, well WWF, but WWE Royal Rumble competitive match, complete with commentators. This shit was fucking epic, and it was
That's
they had
hilarious.
four people, and whenever one was eliminated, another one came in. I assume they were like game designers and like Greg Miller. I don't know if you guys know who Greg Miller is, but he was in there, and this shit was hilarious. I mean, people were coming up there with chairs and hitting each other with chairs, and fake glass bottles and stuff like real wrestling, and while they were playing this, it was probably one of the best competitive, I guess, matches, if you want to call it, that I've seen in a while. Better than any Call of Duty. It was just truly,
Wow.
it was
That's
hilarious.
awesome.
Yeah, but then yeah, the Destiny,
Nintendo, way to go.
right? And then I
Would have
watched
thought.
the Bungie packs, and it was all right. It was actually quite funny. Luke Smith is quite a comical person, but
Yeah, he's got a good sense of humor.
yeah, and but we'll go ahead and get back into this this weekly update here. The first part that seemed pretty interesting is, it says question. I don't know if anybody really asked the question or if it was just from so much Twitter rumor and everything like that. But it says, as part of the question, it says, I read somewhere that it took 45 minutes to just open the door to the raid, referring to the Vault of Glass. And then Luke Smith, he was like, basically for the raid encounters, your team has to work like a key to unlock it. So I don't know. I forget what it was in WoW. There was a dungeon that you went into. It started with an S. But you had to do certain things or pick up certain things to unlock the actual dungeon before you could go into it. And that's what it sounded like with the Vault of Glass, is that once you actually get into the Vault of Glass, or just to open the door outside, there's going to be certain things that you're going to have to do and figure out in order to do it. And he specifically said they're not going to say how to do it, that they're going to expect us, the community, to figure it out, post it on YouTube or whatever, and help everyone else, I guess, achieve that,
Yeah.
whatever. So,
Well, that just strengthens the whole clan mentality of the game. You know what I mean? Having a strong clan that can work together and figure out these puzzles and tasks throughout the shooting and whatnot. That's what I'm really looking forward to, is being able to use that strategy and whatnot to further yourself in the game, rather than just having your reaction skills are the reaction shooting based skills that you need for competitive Call of Duty.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think the way that they're going about it with not releasing that much detail about how to do things is actually kind of cool. Um, because I know they're releasing the strategy guide, and we'll talk about that after the update. But I think between that and the community, because there's a lot of, I'm not gonna say there's a lot of YouTubers because Call of Duty has a lot of YouTubers and Destiny just has like a solid core. But
Yeah.
um, but I think between all of us YouTubers that we'll be able, to, I guess, push out that information, and there'll be enough there for everyone to, I guess, get a grasp on everything. Because I know between Legends of Earth and Prime Guard, there'll be enough how-to information there that it'll get spread around between Dado, More Console, Destiny, Overwatch,
Yeah.
and the rest of the guys out there. That I think it'll do all right, which is what they're counting on anyway. So I guess it's up to us.
I posted a link for the Cinema Saturday and also like check out the YouTube community and so forth. They put out some like really good content.
And
Trying to get my video back up here, sorry guys.
That's all right. So in that same question, they asked, or I'm sorry, the next question was about the 16-hour raids, and if that was true, where it took them 16 hours. And they basically come out and said that's not entirely true. They did it over, I think, like 2 days, and they said they brought in 24 people, if I read that right. Yeah, it was 24. Yeah, they said 24 visitors arranged into 4 teams. So more than likely, I'm thinking it was Halo and COD pros that they brought in, because they said they were shooter guys, and I mean, why would you bring in just random people when most people tend to bring in like professionals or whatever? And
Right, but I got the idea that they probably brought in some of those WoW players and
well,
MMO players, because the idea I've got is it's not only going to be shooting skills, movement skills, and knowledge of the game, knowing which attributes you need to stack to take down this monster.
Trial and error.
right,
Right.
Well,
And,
they said,
that's that WoW caliber player.
right.
So-
You're right, but according to Luke, they said that they brought in specifically shooters. They didn't bring in anybody like that. Like, find the quote up here. Says these folks are shooters, not for the most part raiders from other games, which is why I think that they were mostly, Halo and COD guys. But he goes on to say that there were 2 groups that made it to the final encounter, but neither were able to defeat it. One group made it to the final encounter, but had to be skipped through, and then the other group just said fuck it and quit. And I made the joke that that was probably Optic Gaming, but I'm not gonna harp on them too bad because I like them over there. So, but
Wow, you're harsh. You're
I
just
know,
harsh.
I know. But yeah, I think the way that they're hyping up the Vault of Glass, it seems like it's gonna be one hell of a raid, I guess.
To me, I'm looking forward to. I'm probably gonna be one of those people that's hungry on YouTube, just eating up the information that's coming out. But I really am looking forward to trying to go the distance on that vault. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
ready to get the loot. Give me the loot. Where the
Well-
gold at?
Yeah, well, speaking of that, we'll move on down here because it actually talks about that. It says normal raid. Well, there's normal and then there's hard, and basically, it's normal is for learning the mechanics and the how-tos and getting, I guess, your team shit together. You get specific loot for like gear, I guess gear sets for the normal raid, and then when you do it on hard, there's another specific set you get for doing it on hard. So there's 2 different
Right.
gear sets. So your normal gear set isn't going to be good on hard, which is kind of like with any game, any MMO really.
No. I think you might be missing a little bit here. You're probably gonna need the best gear that you could possibly have off of your strike missions to go into the raid on normal. once you've been able to run the normal raid several times to get the best possible gear that you can have on normal, I think then it's time to transition into hard. I guarantee you, you're probably going to get destroyed the first several times you attempt it on normal just because of the gear that you've already acquired through strikes. You know what I mean? I feel like you're just going to have to work your way up of those tiers to get to where you need to go. You know what I mean? As far as getting to that hard level raid, you're going to have to raid on normal probably 15, 16, 17 times to get the gear required to be able to move into that hard raid.
Okay. Yeah.
That's just my prediction. I think that's kind of the way it works with like a WoW scenario. Is you're gonna run this dungeon until you get the gear piece that you need to go run this other dungeon. You know, that's harder. So that's my prediction. Just to make it the replay value there, you're gonna be searching for this one piece that you need to complete your build, and you gotta keep killing monsters to get it, to go on and play them on the harder levels, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's how it would be. That's how I would lay it out personally. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, he also goes on to talk about how you can only do one geared run a week per character. So you do 3 geared runs, but 1 with each character, and then you have to wait till the weekly reset, which is every Tuesday, in order to do it again. Now you can run it multiple times in a week, but you're only going to get loot and gear that one time. So I think that's going to be kind of a, I don't know, I see the good in it, and I also see the bad in it, because then you got to wait another week to do it, but it kind of prolongs it and gives it.
What if you can't complete it in the first night? Luckily you got a week to get your group back together and keep progressing. You know,
and that's the thing is
they had that on WoW, and I'm used to it. You know what I mean? You would get locked out of certain instances once you did them to limit the drops and whatnot, and I think that's fine. That's also going to give people really time to learn what that gear does to their character as well.
Yeah.
Once you get a good piece of gear, you figure out that, oh, it does this, now I need to buff this or stack that. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to that. It's interesting. It's really just going to depend on how difficult it truly is, because if it isn't difficult enough, that timer is going to be boring, that waiting for it to reset. If it's too difficult and you can't complete it in a week, and you're going to be sad when you lost all your progression and you can't come back after Tuesday. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I hope if they get the balance right, it should be perfect. A week sounds good to me.
Well, speaking of that, we're talking in the chat, and they said someone said that the weekly reset or whatever, does it change the map layout, or is it just progress? Do you know?
As far as I know, it's just progress.
Should, yeah, because there wouldn't really be too much of a reason to. For instance, in WoW, when you went into an instance, we learned through trial and error that, man, this guy had a ton of frost damage, right? So then, when we got locked out, we had a week that we would all go out and look for frost-resistant gear, right? And then when we go back into that instance, we go fight that same monster, and this time we were prepared, right? So I think the map layout, to me, I think is going to be exactly the same, and I think maybe the grunts layout might be different, but I do believe that the big bosses and everything are going to be
different.
Exactly
I could see like different loot and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember when you ran the same single-player mission, the captains were in the same spot every time. It was really just the open world area that had that spread out effectiveness where it was pretty random, you know. So to me it seems like open world, yeah, you're going to get the dynamic monsters and whatnot, but I think for the instances and raids you're going to have pretty much the same encounter every time. You just need to learn from that trial and error to prepare for it once you die a whole bunch.
Yeah, I could see, like, if they did the way that the enemies either come out or their patterns, because in most games they have a pattern. Oh, this guy's going to come from here, these guys are going to
Right.
come from here, and right
Halo.
around this time this guy comes out here. I think that'll change, but as far as like the entire map layout, I think that would be too much for a console, and especially to put on a disc. So I think changing the way the AI works is reasonable, and possibly even it's something that we could expect or whatever. But as far as like the way that the map's laid out, or the way that the raid's laid out, like pathwise, I don't foresee that changing.
Well, and I'm going to change my answer just a little bit. I foresee them nerfing certain things and buffing certain things in a raid after they see that, like, say for instance, only 1% of clans can get through the Vault of Glass. I would foresee them essentially buffing it or nerfing the monsters down to make it more like 25% of groups that attempt the Vault of Glass to get in, making the monsters have like less hit points, maybe do a little bit less damage, kind of thing. But that I don't see them changing where the monsters spawn and whatnot, but I do think that they're going to be nerfing and buffing things in the game to tweak it out for balance and progression.
Yeah.
Change my answer, sir.
um, Pretty much, yeah. We just went over everything from the update, basically. They were talking about how the loot works and stuff, and someone in the chat just brought up the question whether you can do the raid on normal and then go back and do it on hard, and I'm pretty sure that you won't be able to, because
now that's there again. And WoW, you could do raids on what was called normal, and then you could go back and do it on heroic and get extra XP and separate loot that you only could get on heroic, which that sounds to me like that's what would be occurring on these. That's kind of how they said the loot would drop in between the hard and the normal. So I think I would love to see us be able to try it on normal, figure out how it went, and then get geared up for hard and try it in the same week, or at least be able to attempt it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. I mean, they didn't actually specifically say, but they did come out and say, however, that for each of the 9, weapon types, auto rifle, hand cannon, etc., that there will be a legendary version that is crafted or created especially for the Vault of Glass. Sorry, with my hands all up in the camera, but
all right.
But yeah, so I'll be looking forward to that. But yeah, I think that's this week's weekly update was probably, I think, one of the most interesting so far, because it's very specific, and even though it doesn't seem like it's a lot of information, it actually is.
Compared to what we're used to, it really is. And
Right.
and they're actually answering questions directly, which is very rare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was a fan of this week's weekly update, but then again, we're about to get our hands on it anyways, so it's like,
Right.
I can't wait to talk about what we struggle with in the first week of playing the game and whatnot.
Yeah.
And talking about that, have we brought up the stream yet?
No, we haven't actually. We will be doing we're gonna attempt a 24-hour live stream from midnight to midnight. Hopefully.
Yeah, we should have at least a full group running all the time. We're going to try to get to max level as fast as possible and get geared to get started on the vault. We're going to be trying to have some of that vault information out as early as we possibly can. We got a clan of what? How many members do we have now, Moose?
Combined, 45, I think.
45 plus people that we're going to be playing with, streaming with. We'll play with anybody on the stream that wants to get in. We're going to really try to get into that vault of glass and see what's in there, man. I'm ready. I'm ready
Right.
for the loot.
Yep.
I'm a loot
Well,
whore. That's me.
well, Bungie came out and said that the first team to successfully complete the Vault of Glass, well, they said we'll get a monument. I'm pretty sure they're not exactly going to erect a monument, but you'll probably get some sort of recognition.
Oh, how awesome would it be if you came back to the tower and your guardian and your gamer tag was there? That would be. Oh,
Yeah, I'd have a fucking nerd boner. I'm not even gonna lie.
oh! Get ready to see my guardian in the tower, fellas, because I'm going.
Yep.
I'm doing it.
Right now it seems
Yeah,
like
so we're doing a 24-hour stream. We're gonna be working in anybody in the stream that wants to play with us. We're gonna be shooting to go straight to 20. Probably go all the single player missions first. Or I mean, all the strike missions first, and then progression to exploration, and then multiplayer once we're like OP. We're gonna go in there and have sick KDs. I can't wait. But and then once we feel like we're ready for the vault, we're gonna hit it with what? We're gonna hit it with 6 players.
Yep.
Have to all be separate specs more than likely, so we all maintain our roles. And this,
Would kill to play some Crucible too.
Yeah.
oh yeah, man. See, there's gonna be certain gear that we're gonna need from the Crucible probably to further ourselves in the vault. So they've got it all twisted and tied together, and I can't wait to figure it all out.
Yeah. For those of you guys that are in the chat that are asking about the levels or whatever, 20 is the max soft cap, and then you can go up to 30 for the hard cap, but you need motes of light. So once you get to 20, instead of progressing upwards, you progress like outwards, I guess, is the best way to explain it. And instead of experience, you have a little bar that'll be like, I don't know, right here on your screen, and it'll be like a little blue bar, and that's your like a mote meter, I guess. And that's what once you get that up, you get a mote of light. And then, like we talked about last week with the Trials of Osiris, you can either use that mote of light to upgrade your character, or you can use it to spend on the Trials of Osiris to get like super awesome legendary gear. So those will be quite expensive. But that's how you get up to 30.
I kind of viewed it as if you're familiar with Diablo 3, like the Paragon leveling system. Once you hit the end game, it kind of starts over, and you got something more to work towards. That's kind of how I saw the motes of light. Except, sorry, they're going to be a currency as well. So I'm looking forward to see how the market on those motes of light works out as well, because I don't think the Osiris would probably be the only place you can burn them. So
probably not.
we'll see.
But I mean, yeah, we'll definitely see. I mean, for those of you that didn't catch up on, weren't here last week, and we talked about the Trials of Osiris, you only get 3. You die 3 times and you're done, and you have to burn another mote of light. So I would think there's probably going to be at least a couple more that they haven't talked about that are kind of similar that you will get to burn your motes of light on, because just spending them on leveling or the Trials of Osiris, it just seems like the Trials of Osiris is just kind of like random. Like, you can upgrade your character or you can do this, and I would think there'd at least be 1, maybe 2 more options to burn those on. Just to keep it's not stagnant, I guess.
In my opinion, if Bungie's going to take the route that the World of Warcraft community was built off of, I could see them bringing in a complete new currency or something like motes of light into the game that is completely separate. That you have to earn these now to get into this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So not only do you have options, there's other reasons to go grind those missions that you've already played a lot.
Yeah. And going back to the Vault of Glass or whatever, I'm really looking forward and curious to see what kind of, I guess, events or certain things that we're gonna have to do to actually unlock it. Like, I wonder if it's gonna be something like if there's gonna be some sort of, I guess, not narrative or whatever, but like if there's gonna be hard clues, or if it's just gonna be like you're just gonna have to randomly figure it out just by accident almost. Like the difficulty level on that aspect, I guess.
like we got a lot of people in the stream excited about getting some loot.
Yeah, no, I was reading the comments over there, but
Yeah, dude. Apparently.
but
Arrow driving.
so apparently I noticed this on gamingfall.com, and I seen it go around on Twitter a few times, and it's called Destiny Astronaut Ice Cream. And for those of you that haven't seen it, I don't know if you have the link handy, VK, or not, but you can go to gamingfall.com, and in the Destiny section, there's a thing over there, and you get it at Target. The picture, the guy holding it up is an employee, and guess his name's Sean, so I'm pretty sure he's not watching the stream right now. But yeah, it's like a pouch. It almost looks kind of like a fancy MRE, and
It's disgusting. It's
like,
it's gross. It's
you
gross.
wouldn't try it? I would try it.
No, I've had it, man. I went to the Air Space Museum in DC one time and got to try it. What freeze dried ice cream tastes like. It to me, it was like eating a rice cake that had like strawberry flavoring. It is gross. Yeah, I'm over it.
I'll try it. I mean, it's freeze dried, ready to eat, but I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know. Is it actually like milk ice cream, or is it like?
Yeah, what?
Like,
I believe it's a dairy item that is. There's this piece of equipment that you can have in a restaurant called a flash freezer, which works kind of like an oven, I believe. Instead of getting hot, it gets super cold and just instantly freezes things. Like within a minute or two, you open the oven back up, you can put it, and it's frozen, right? So I think they freeze the ice cream, and it takes all the moisture out of it.
Huh.
So then it becomes like powdered ice cream, or like powdered milk, but it's
Weird. But yeah, I seen that and I thought that was going to be hilarious. I was like, I don't know. I'm just curious to try it just because, I mean, hell, I ate a ghost pepper the other day and it was probably the worst experience that I've ever had to endure. So this can't top that. So.
Just saying, if I was drunk enough. I mean,
yeah, I totally would not. No, I'm sorry.
And then I think a lot of people forgot about this, but the Destiny strategy guide, and I pre-ordered a copy just because I wanted, I need all the information, as, a YouTuber. I think it's going to be valuable for me to, make accurate videos and whatnot. But it's basically, from what I understand, I haven't seen one yet, it's the guide to everything in Destiny. Now, it makes me wonder if it's going to have clues on things such as the Vault of Glass, which we were just talking about.
I would assume there's some tidbits and hints, but to me, I've gotten a lot of the strategy guides when I got the Halo and whatnot. And, I was a big Halo nerd. I got the collector's editions and whatnot. And so, what I found to be the most interesting thing about those strategy guides is how they give you a little interesting look at the art and maybe some of the aesthetics of the map that you noticed it, but until you read a little tidbit about why it's in the game and why it's important and things like that, you really never appreciated it. So I found that the reading from the strategy guide really made me appreciate the game more than it taught me about the game, just because I picked up on a lot of the OP things quickly. Like, I recognize when something's overpowered and I generally stick with it. But and that's kind of like, I feel like I picked that up faster than the average player does, maybe. So the strategy guides tell me a lot of things that I pick up early in the game, maybe. But then again, I get to learn a lot about the aesthetics of the game. Maybe they'll have, and like the Halo 2 collectors, in like the corners and stuff, they would give you a little information about somebody from Bungie that isn't famous, but they get their little input on this part that they had, that they were involved with, something that was their baby. They really wanted it to make this small, insignificant part of the game special, and then you got to learn why, or it's interesting. I found that it was better toilet reading than like strategizing in front of the TV. You know what I mean? It's better just when you don't have anything else to do, kind of a thing.
The last strategy guide that I bought was for Mortal Kombat 3, so and that was on Sega, and I still have it too. It's in my basement actually. I looked through it the other day and I was like, yes.
Oh, so they told you how to hit like X X X X X repeatedly over and over and over. Like
well,
they told you that strategy.
Pretty much.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, actually, I think that's all we. Oh, VK, did you want to talk about what you guys had going on at Dispatch? I know you had something going on over there.
Yeah, well, I published that Destiny the Cinema Saturday thing, and so besides that, like, we are working currently on an ebook titled Become Legend. I could put a link in the Twitch, but basically it's just a compilation of fan-made content, short stories, like I think poetry, like songs, and it's all like sort of adds to the lore. A lot of it's fiction, but it gives you like a really like big glimpse at like like personal tales of like the EXO, humans, all of them, like all the struggles, and like it's a lot of like stuff about like the golden age and the wars and everything that happened before, like as what's called the darkness, right?
Which, like, yeah, I feel like, at least in the beta, maybe the storyline was probably the weakest part,
Exactly.
or not the weakest, maybe the hardest thing to follow.
It's very vague.
I was in such a rush to level up, and I knew it was the beta, and I had such a short amount of time to play. I wasn't really into listening to everything those dudes had to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm probably the most vague on that right now. So that'd be
Right.
actually pretty good reading right now. That's
Yeah, and I know they are like, we're trying to get it out soon. It's going to be out by launch. I'm currently just helping with the editing and everything, but a lot of talented writers are on it. I think they really only pick the best writers. So yeah, good stuff, and I can't wait for it to be published. It's a lot of fun editing it. So you guys definitely check that out once it releases. Might be released by the next cast, who knows?
If it's good to edit it, it's probably going to be great to read, so I can't wait.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, I'm just a nerd when it comes to editing, so.
Yeah. I know this is going to be kind of a short cast, but like I said, we're kind of running out of topics before the release comes out. But next week, what's up?
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, you guys should check out the PS4 exclusive, like PS4, PS3 exclusive content. I don't mean to cut you off, man.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
They have like different sets of armor, weapons, vehicles, and as you guys know, there's a 1 year waiting period for Xbox, which kind of sucks, but it's whatever.
Now, do you guys think that that's going to be for just this 1 year, and then it goes back to a level playing field, or do you think it'll be the 1 year and then either they'll get something exclusive with the next year's release for a year, or what do you think it'll be like a month?
Listen,
I don't think
Bungie
so.
and Microsoft's relationship is on thin ice. So, if PS4 is going to keep the money flowing and making Bungie happy, I wouldn't foresee them coming back,
But-
honestly, from PlayStation.
I don't really think...
And that's coming from an Xbox player.
I don't...
Maybe I'm a cynic, or, I don't know.
I don't really think it has to do with Bungie and PlayStation. I think it has to do with Activision trying to make more money, because Activision is already, got Xbox in the pocket with Call of Duty, so it would only make sense from a financial standpoint to pocket PlayStation in the other one with something that's as good, if not better, than the Call of Duty franchise.
I agree, but if that was their business plan, why wouldn't they rotate Call of Duty?
Because they knew from the beginning, several years ago, that they were going to be able to do this. So they just rode Call of Duty out and made their money, because they've made their money on Call of Duty. Like, they're already set. So
I agree, but then again, Bungie is a family. Like to me, I look at them as like a family-owned operation. Like the key people at the top have been working there for so long, and pretty much work and live together and whatnot, to the point where when the Microsoft thing happened, they took it personal. I think it is not business anymore. I think Microsoft could come back with so much more money than PlayStation could ever offer, ever. And, I still don't think it would.
I don't know. I think it has to do
I
a
would
lot
like
with,
to be pleasantly surprised as an Xbox player on Destiny, and I'm going to be on the Xbox One. But I, if they were gonna cycle from console to console, I think they would have done it with Call of Duty a long time ago. Because there's still a ton of people that play Call of Duty on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I think the reason that they won't and haven't is basically because of esports.
But then again, yeah, you're right. You're right.
I mean,
Esports is big, but PlayStation also is willing to fork out the money to MLG to get their consoles as the main console on the circuit. So if the main games on the circuit are PlayStation exclusives, I could see that the main console use played in the competitive circuit be on that console as well.
I think that would only happen for Destiny. I don't foresee, Call of
Could
Duty.
you not see going to an MLG tournament and Call of Duty being on Xboxes over here and PlayStation's being and Destiny being on
Yeah, I can see
PlayStations
that.
over there?
Yeah,
See, I could easily see that happening.
yeah.
But even then, you can still be a very competitive player on your console. Like you can be the best on MLG on the PlayStation,
Right.
and they keep those teams are separate and those ladders are separate. So, as far as what's going to be MLG sponsored and whatnot, I think they're probably going to. It's really whatever company is willing to fork out the money. I think it was a $10 million deal to keep Call of Duty and MLG on the Xbox and Xbox One. And PlayStation's paid that much and more for other games to be on PlayStation in the competitive circuit. So we'll see.
I also
It'll
think
always be bigger on Xbox, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I think the problem with that aspect has been the PlayStation's past history with graphics. They haven't been as good. Even the PS3 versus 360 wasn't that good. Now, the PS4 versus the Xbox One, that's a different story. I think they do have a slight edge, graphically.
The hardware is much more developed.
Yeah.
As is, I think
because
for the Xbox One to catch up, there's going to be years of updates, before it's actually going to be up to snuff.
Yeah, well, one is the Kinect, and because a lot of the CPUs taken up
Big
by
fail.
Yeah, taken up by the Kinect. Now the Kinect's a great tool. It's great for streaming and things like that. But I think
I'm actually on the Kinect right now. Believe it or not, I decided not to hook up all the stuff over there. I had a different setup. So, to save time, it's easier to be on the Kinect.
Yeah, and it's in that aspect, it's a hell of a lot easier. But I think they should have bumped up the the processor and all that stuff to accommodate for it. Have its own separate, I guess, like CPU system, and then leave the actual console to compete with the PlayStation.
Well, most competitive games, to my knowledge, aren't even going to support the Kinect.
Yeah.
So I think that equation, if that was going to be a reason they were, I think you could remove that from the competitive equation. But then again, with the PlayStation, you do have some extra features on the controller that you're not going to be able to have on the Xbox. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But one thing before we ended up calling it a night is there's a website that I found called DestinyStrategyGuide.com. Now there's nothing there, but it looks like it has the potential to be a really cool website. I'm assuming it's going to be mostly tips and tricks and guides and things like that they're going to post, gather from all over the internet and post there. which makes me think. I don't know if you guys have seen the Destiny Wikia page. It's destiny.wikia.com, which has pretty much as much information as we know so far about the enemies, the characters, the weapons, and things like that. And I imagine as the game comes out, it's going to be updated regularly. Though it's just like Wikipedia, where anybody can update it. So I mean, you have to use it with common sense and a grain of salt or whatever. But I think those are some websites that we can potentially look forward to using a lot.
Well, luckily, we on Twitter and whatnot this week we've been having some fun with the guys, and we've been talking back and forth saying how we're all going to be trying to get our videos out first and whatnot,
Yep.
getting the information out to people as fast as we can. But it's really getting to be fun. How it's gonna. I truly think it's gonna be an all-out race to see who can get the vault done. I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah,
I'm harping on loot, but man, I'm ready
Yeah.
for some loot.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. And like I said, right now, I think the main competition to get that vault done first is going to be between Prime Guard and Legends of Earth. I know Starside Echoes is an uber big clan, but I haven't heard much about what their plans are and how prepared they are. But I know those two are it's going to be a close race between them, and I'm looking forward to seeing that and which one comes out on top.
Well, I know I've taken time off from work, man.
Yep.
I've got my energy drinks ready to go over here from First Step Pro Wellness. It's gonna be an all out race. I just hope I'm ready for it. I feel like I've stayed up late for like the last 10 years training for this. So
Yep. Well, another
Hey.
thing is I got to go over to the University of Toledo next week, Tuesday or Wednesday, and see about doing the Guinness World Record for. According to Guinness World Records, it's the longest action role-playing game marathon, and there is no record set, but it has to be 24 hours or more.
So when you told me that, you told me about that a long time ago, and I was like, man, that's just so weird that they would put that title on there, how specific that got.
yeah,
But then I was like thinking, what if somebody played like DDR for 24 hours straight? That's a whole different thing than playing
crazy.
Destiny,
right.
So after I thought about it, I was like, yeah, there's a reason it got that specific. Because
Yeah,
if somebody like Dance Revolution for 24 hours straight, they'd probably die.
Right. Well, when I sent out the request to do the Guinness World Record, I sent it out as the longest time spent playing a video game, and then they're the ones that sent it back. You could
Right,
do
see, that's
this, and then I had to send back. I'm like, well, does the game Destiny count for that? Because I wanted to make sure that Destiny counted for that, because Destiny's like this hybrid, fucking magical unicorn beast of a game that doesn't really have a set genre, and they did come back and confirm that it does qualify for it, so I can literally play Destiny for 24 to 36 hours or however long I can before I die. And
But Destiny's acronym is like 8 syllables long.
right. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing that, and hopefully I'm going to do it for Extra Life Gaming for Kids charity. If nobody knows what that is, you can check them out at extralife.org. It's pretty sweet. It's literally just gaming and raising money for kids. I mean, you already game anyway, so it's just you're raising money for kids that can't do it anymore or whatnot. So, but hey, did you guys have anything else you wanted to run by real quick?
Football season starts.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Yep. We just did our fantasy football draft before we did
I
the
just
show.
want to say South Carolina lost because I left the school.
Oh. Okay. Well, how do you explain Clemson getting trumped the way they were then?
I can't even explain. They just suck. I don't know.
Well, South Carolina football in general got smashed on the college scene, and
I'm just saying, College of Charleston were undefeated once again.
Yeah. Well, just hit me up when y'all actually get a football team, and then we'll see what y'all's record is.
Throw down.
Yeah, but
Peace.
there's a couple people asking the stream. We're from LOE Legends of Earth clan. We are going to be recruiting and playing Destiny. We're just three dudes from the clan that get on the stream and want to talk about Destiny. So if
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
interested in joining the clan, you got some cool stuff to talk about. We'll
Put a
either be
link.
on the stream.
Definitely
As
join.
as for joining the clan, the clan rosters are limited to 100, and since we are open to all four consoles, it is mildly limited. But right now we do have plenty of room, so we're good
If
there.
you if you register in the next week or so, then you should be approved. Like,
Yeah, Xbox One and PlayStation 4 for sure. We do have some, 360 and PlayStation 3 guys too, but we don't have that many. So, but we are accepting all of them. So, yep. And then there was one other thing I was going to mention real quick, but I think I forgot what that was. Oh well, I guess it wasn't that important. But yeah, definitely hit us up. We'll be posting my phone. We'll be posting, articles. VK will drop his articles on our website, whether they're Destiny Dispatch related or whatnot. And yeah, if you guys have anything that you want us to talk about for future casts, you can always hit one of us up at any one of these walkthroughs now, which is Skill, Destiny in Depth, which is me, and VK, which is VK. And
So somebody in the stream was calling me Goaty today. It's the goatee. You know what? I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna change my Twitter tag to Goaty.
do it.
I am the GOAT, greatest of all time. So let's go.
Nice.
All right, it's good. It's good hitting y'all up today.
Yep.
Yep.
So with that, I guess we're done for the night. And like I said, if you guys got anything you want us to talk about for future casts, rumors, myths, anything like that, just hit us up, and we'll go ahead and post the cast on YouTube either later tonight or tomorrow. So if you missed anything, you can catch up. So talk to you guys later. Peace.
All right, see you guys.